Hello gorgeous soul friends, welcome to my channel, Madame DeVaux. Thank you so much for tuning in and for allowing me into your wondrous earth experience today. So we're going to talk about affirmations and why using them can really take your manifestation abilities to the next level. And you can use them unconsciously, you can use them consciously, you can use them at any fucking time of the day, and they are awesome. They really, really work. And they will help you see significant results if you're consistent with them and allow them to really propagate in your mind. So let's first start off with talking about how they work and how, they're influencing your mind. Because our entire life experience is built upon the beliefs that we hold about self. Because your reality is just a reflection, it's just a mirror. And everything that you are telling yourself, the inner conversations that you're having, as Neville Goddard talks about, the inner conversations about the life experience that you're having are contributing to the unfolding of those life experiences. So when you hold a certain assumption or perception about something, whether it be a relationship or whether it be your view on your money situation or your body, you subconsciously begin to make decisions that align with that belief and make it fact. So the truth is that we've all been conditioned into a state of fear thinking. And Dylan James talks about this on his channel too. He talks about how we're conditioned to hate ourselves. And it's true. Like, we are conditioned to be super insecure, question ourselves, not sure of ourselves. And it's intentional. I mean, this is century-long programming that has transcended generations. So this is something that is rooted within our DNA. It all trickles back to the oligarchy's desire to keep all of the material and spiritual power segregated to a small group. So these roots run real deep. Like I said, this is, century-long conditioning, to the point where the conditioning isn't even really coming directly from the oligarchy itself anymore. It's often coming from whoever raised you. So we're just byproducts of our upbringing, and the types of beliefs and views that our parents or our caretakers held. Those are often transferred directly into your own being and are influencing a lot of the patterns and decisions that you're making. So most people are living under the expectations that others have placed on them versus the desires that they've crafted for their own life path. These constructs are so deeply rooted and ingrained in people that they fully believe the path that others want for them is the path that they're supposed to be on, or the path that is meant for them. That's why when people commence the Kundalini awakening process, they're catapulted from their old life into darkness and fear. Because most people are living in a place that's so far removed from their authenticity that they don't even know themselves. Like, they have no idea who the fuck they are. So what affirmations do is they kind of help cement new beliefs in place of the old ones that will promote decisions which will take you toward that desired life. It'll take you towards that belief, whatever it is that you're trying to condition into your brain. Our reality is a mirror. When you begin to solidify an affirmation, it'll begin to reflect in your subjective experience. So a good analogy to kind of compare this to is walking across a field of grass every day. So the more you go back and forth across this field of grass along the same exact path every single time, you will begin to create indentations within the grass from your feet. So repetition is the key when exercising anything, including your brain. So when you continue to, push and push and push with these affirmations and persist with them, you are literally carving out new neural pathways in your mind. Some people can immediately see results by simply affirming during the day, replacing old, limiting thoughts. Like, some people are really good at flipping, in the sense that when they have a negative thought, they can easily flip it around with a positive one and replace that old thought with a positive thought. But some people really need a little bit of extra affirming. So this is kind of where the nightly affirmations come in. Sleep is ideal because your subconscious mind is wide open and it's much more receptive to the affirmations versus like when you're awake and utilizing your conscious mind. They still work. Like, you can still listen to subliminals and affirmation tapes like during the day while you're awake. And I've seen results like with listening to affirmation tapes while waking, but it definitely does saturate a little bit better when you're asleep. We also sleep for such a long amount of time, like 6 to 8 hours of cycling affirmations over and over and over again is going to make them stick a lot quicker than just, affirming here and there throughout the day. The visual that I've had for affirmation tapes is like shooting an arrow at a target. So the target represents your mind and the arrows represent each affirmation. So, you're cycling through each affirmation, shooting these arrows at the target, and the first few times the arrows bounce off. You know, there's not enough pressure applied. You don't really have a whole lot of practice. So they're just kind of bouncing off the target. But you keep practicing. And every now and again, an arrow sticks to the target, right? And the more you do it, the more practice you get, you start hitting bullseyes. And you start hitting more bullseyes. And more arrows begin to stick to the target. If you sat there for 8 hours and just kept shooting and practicing, you would likely hit the target and have those arrows stick multiple times and even hit bullseyes multiple times, versus if you were just kind of going back and forth every day, like, you know, and going and shooting for a couple of minutes and then leaving it behind and going back later, shooting for another 15 minutes. You know, you would see much more long-term results if you just sat there and practiced for longer, versus, you know, if you were just kind of doing it willy-nilly. So it's the same thing with affirmations. Affirmation tapes are just shooting affirmations at your subconscious mind until they begin to stick. It just keeps hitting your brain with these affirmations and saying, take it, take it, take it, take it. So just like target practice or practice with anything, the more consistent you are, the quicker you'll see improvement and the quicker you'll see results. So the key is to just saturate your brain, you know, with the belief until it becomes fact. And when it does, you will know, trust me. Because you'll begin to see life unfold in a way that reflects the belief itself. Like, you'll start to see things in your reality that reflect this affirmation. It's really interesting. And you will see it pop up in your reality. It's really fucking weird. You know, but the level of consistency really just depends on your self-concept. So, you know, certain beliefs may require a little more consistency and a little more saturation than others. And, you know, I've seen people who have no problem manifesting love. Like, they get all of their partners super easily, they get their SPs and all of that, but they struggle with keeping a job, and vice versa. Because the beliefs that they hold around these things are different, and, you know, the types of perceptions that they have around these two areas of life are vastly, vastly different. But how do you know which beliefs need work and which ones don't need as much work? And the answer to that is resistance. When you think about the beliefs that have been constructed from your upbringing, those beliefs your mind has been marinating in for decades sometimes. So it's normal to experience resistance because your brain becomes so comfortable with these beliefs that it's like anything else is perceived as dangerous. So sometimes your brain will do the absolute fucking most to resist, and it's really weird. To the point where it'll create scenarios where you can't listen to the affirmation tapes. And there's been times where I've been listening to my nightly affirmation tapes and I will wake up without realizing I'm waking up and turn off my affirmation tapes. Either shut my computer or I'll pause the affirmation tape. It's weird. There's been multiple occasions where I've woken up with my affirmation tapes paused. And it was for a little while happening very consistently, like every night. Like 3 nights, 4 nights in a row, I was waking up and pausing my affirmation tapes, and I didn't even remember. Like, I would just wake up and they would be paused. And it was happening so consistently that I was just like, what the fuck? So I started exploring the concept of resistance, and the more that you persist, the resistance will subside. And you could even include affirmations within your tape around resistance, you know, listening to affirmation tapes about submitting and, you know, your subconscious mind lessening the resistance, getting rid of resistance. Just basically affirming that you are letting go of any resistance and becoming very receptive to the affirmations that are being presented to you. So a more extreme version of resistance that some of you may notice is manifesting the exact opposite of what you're intending. And, you know, this is normal. This happens to people who are working through their self-concept. The key is to just keep persisting with the affirmations. Like, if you're somebody who has done technique after technique after technique and you just feel like you're manifesting the opposite, you're like, listen, Hannah, I've watched every fucking manifestation coach out there. I don't know what the fuck's happening. Resistance doll. Just continue to persist with the beliefs and eventually your mind will subdue. Like, your brain will submit itself, and you'll be able to see a change and a difference. Just keep persisting. The first thing to pay attention to when you want to identify resistance is, how do you feel when you're affirming for certain things? You know, when you're affirming for your SP, do you feel excited or do you feel inadequate? How do you feel when you spend money? Do you feel excited? Do you feel gratitude? Do you get nervous? Especially on things that are considered luxuries and not even necessarily necessities. If you have resistance and you hold a belief of guilt around wanting nice things, or if you hold any kind of negative belief around luxuries, it's going to reflect and it's going to create resistance. So you can find 8-hour affirmation tapes on YouTube for free Dylan James is actually the affirmation king. Like, he has so many good ones on his channel, and I'll link some down in the description box below, because I just stand his content so hard. Like, I am in no way affiliated with Dylan James. I just really fuck with his content and what he's doing. I also sell affirmation tapes on my website, but mine are specifically catered to your needs. Like, you fill out a little questionnaire and you just let me know like what you're looking for and what you're wanting to manifest. And I basically cater all of the affirmations to what you're looking for, and it's recorded in your voice specifically. Because this is actually something that I argue really heavily in my teachings of manifestation specifically, that I haven't heard a lot of other manifestation coaches talk about. In my experience, I've found that the subconscious is more likely to be receptive of affirmations if you have them done in your voice. Like, because of the fact that it kind of tricks your brain into thinking it's your own thoughts versus like some man on the internet, right? Especially if you're like a female and like you're using, you know, an affirmation tape of somebody who's like the opposite sex. Obviously, like, the subconscious mind is very complex, but I do think hearing it in your own voice makes a difference. Like, I really do. Even if you're not actively hearing the manifestation, or even if you're not actively hearing the affirmations, I think it still does make a difference. And I swear by this, honest to God, because it's to the point where you will see substantial results within the first night of listening. But if you want to solidify a statement into fact, you should be listening minimum 21 days, because that's the amount of time that it takes to create a habit. But honestly, some negative beliefs are so deeply ingrained within us that in order to completely uproot them for good, you have to listen for months, sometimes years. Like, there was this one account that I had read on the internet where this one person had such shitty money beliefs, and for a year of their life listened to this one affirmation tape every single night when they slept. And these affirmations were around money and, you know, being wealthy and stuff like that. And even in just the first month of listening, they started to see significant results. But over the course of that year, like a full year later, their life had completely changed. And they were like the first like millionaire in their family and like all of this stuff. It was absolutely insane. But yeah, sometimes, you know, we need to dedicate more time to specific beliefs because we have so much trauma related to those beliefs, like especially people who grew up in poverty, you know what I mean? Or who have a lot of trauma around being impoverished and stuff like that. Like, your money beliefs probably suck. It's the same thing for somebody who, you know, struggles with partners cheating on them. Like, people have that initial trauma of like their first experience getting cheated on or getting betrayed, or maybe that's something that they witnessed at home, right? Like, they may have had a parent who frequently cheated on their spouse, and then they continue to bring that energy with them in all of their experiences. They're projecting that in their experiences. So they may have beliefs around love and loyalty that fucking suck. So we all have beliefs that suck. And that are creating obstacles and limitations within our life. So the idea is to consistently use these affirmation tapes to do away with the beliefs completely and replace them with new ones that are going to take us in the direction to whatever it is that we want to experience. So you could kind of see it like weeds in your garden, you know what I mean? You have all of these weeds that are growing, and the affirmations are almost like maintenance. You know, it's like the care and the upkeep that is necessary to keep those weeds from completely overtaking and ruining your garden. A lot of people ask me if it's better to use affirmation tapes or subliminals when manifesting, and my answer to that is it really doesn't fucking matter, honestly. If you want my personal opinion, from my experience, I listen to subliminals during the day and affirmation tapes at night. Which, like I said, again, it doesn't fucking matter because they both work regardless. Like, I've seen success with listening to affirmation tapes during the day, and I've seen success with listening to subliminals at night. So it really doesn't fucking matter, but just from my repetitive use and experience, that's what works for me. I will say, be careful with subliminals. There's people that put negative affirmations behind the rain sounds or the white noise or whatever's being played. So that's the only downside with subliminals, is you can't really be super discerning with what's going on because of the fact that there is white noise. Like, you can't hear the affirmations that are being said. But if you find really reputable sub makers, which I can list some in the description box below as well, you know, feel free to check them out. What is the format of a proper affirmation? There's no proper affirmations. Like, as long as you intend something, it's going to manifest. But the beauty of the I am phrasing is that it takes time out of the picture. When you phrase something in the I am format, you're stepping out of linear time. And you're basically just affirming that everything that you want is happening now, in this moment, in some reality. And when you affirm with the I am, it takes you to that reality. Words are magic spells, and that is why the process of formulating them is called spelling. I talked about this concept in one of my older videos, but I guess I didn't explain it well enough for some of the denser minds out there, because there was some asshole that made a video making fun of me, like for talking about words being magic spells. So since some of you still don't quite get it, let me get out the Crayolas, because we are living in a world that is entirely composed of vibrational waves. Light waves that allow us to see, sound waves that allow us to hear, even vibrational waves that are created from the electrons repelling your skin and your nervous system from whatever it is that you're touching. Your nervous system is translating all of those varying waves into the full sensory experience that you have on the day-to-day. Your nervous system is basically just your computer. Like, it's your fucking central processing unit. Even right now as you're watching this video, like, you are receiving sound waves that I am putting out through talking, which your neurons are translating into information that you may or may not understand. It's kind of like dropping a rock into water. You know, the splash will ripple and it'll expand and it'll affect the still water around it. So that sound vibration is rippling and it's manipulating the matter in the surrounding environment. Your intention and your voice specifically manipulates matter. And the same thing happens with light waves when you write intentions down. Reality does not render until your 5 senses are perceiving it. Everything outside of what you're immediately perceiving right now in this moment does and doesn't fucking exist at the same time. But your intention and your assumptions are the determining factor. They are the determining factor of what exists in your reality and what does not. We are living in a fucking simulation, people, and I don't understand what is so hard to get about that. Like, this is probably the most sound ideology and perception of the world that blends religious and esoteric teachings with scientific study. It is a perfect blend and harmonious union of these two ways of thinking that is also liberating. You are the god of your reality, boo-boo. This is your world. You can have anything that you fucking want. Our reality is a fluid ocean of vibration that is appearing solid because of a filter that's been placed over our consciousness. Your awareness is the glue that holds your reality together. And this glue kind of undoes itself when you take psychedelics. You can kind of see the fluid state of our reality while on psychedelics. They almost lift this filter. And that's what visuals are. Like, if you've ever heard of visuals when you're tripping on psychedelics, that's what they are. It's literally just all of the different realities in your subjective multiverse blending in and out of each other. It's happening all the time, but we're just blind to it because of the filter that we have placed over our consciousness. When you affirm, you're using your will to manipulate matter, and that matter will mold itself into that affirmation. It'll mold itself into whatever it is that you are willing with your affirmations. So you can start off with like blanket affirmations. I think blanket affirmations are really great because specific affirmations work, like they're fine, and they work just as good. But blanket affirmations cover a broader spectrum of things. So you can manifest specific things by using blanket affirmations. You know what I mean? So instead of affirming for your SP, you can, affirm that you are loved, that you are accepted, that you are wanted, you are desired. By affirming those things, you are affirming that your SP wants you, your SP desires you because you're wanted. Why wouldn't they want you? You're wanted, you're desired. You know what I mean? So it's kind of the same thing with anything. Whenever you use a blanket affirmation, it covers all areas of life. It covers all the specifics. So that's always, kind of a piece of advice that I give in terms of affirming is blanket affirmations are the way to go. If you can't think of an affirmation, like specifically, just use blanket ones. They're great, and like I said, they cover everything. That's the conclusion of this video on affirmations. I hope you found this video useful and applicable. Don't forget to join my Facebook group, guys. There's a link down in the description box below, my psychic development group, where we basically are just going to be talking about all kinds of different things regarding psychic development, astral projection, meditation, telepathy, all of that good stuff. And if you want to get into psychic coaching as well, you can check out my link down below. I do have group coaching available if you want to build community with other psychics and other intuitives. That's a great place to start if you just feel like you need a little hand-holding with manifestation or, you know, anything psychic related, developing your extrasensory perception. You know, that's gonna all be on my website. And also don't forget to check out my affirmation tapes down below, guys. Like if you want a affirmation tape catered to you and catered to your specific situation, I do have affirmation tapes listed on my website available for purchase. I also have a discount going around right now too. If you go to my website and you sign up with your email, you will get a 20% off discount on any affirmation tape that you want. So go check it out. It's all in the description box below, and I will see you guys later. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.